What's going on, everybody? We're gonna do this quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's a beautiful day out today, so might take a little bit extra time to absorb this nice sunny April day here. We're here at Hester's Motorsports. We're showing off the new Hester Edition Elka shocks that is going to be coming out. We're just finalizing this as prototypes and everything, finalizing all the settings on a 950 H.O EX. So we already make the shocks for the sport models, Gen 1s, not the new 23 Gen 2s. Those will be working. I'm going to try to have those by the summer to, sometime this summer on the Gen 2, 800 trail, 800 sport, 800 trail, 950 trail, and 950 sport, Gen 2s. With the new chassis and suspension and everything. So let's get into this real quick. So these are stage 4s, and the reason why I do stage 4s on the production or the prototyping is because I'm also playing with valving. So I do a lot of different testing with the, I design everything, I get all the specs, all the geometry, everything is done by me. I'm not just some middleman guy that pulls shocks off of a shelf and say, hey, let's see if these will fit. These are 100% custom designed and done by me. So everything's all set up. We have exclusive valving. We're the only place that for a zforce that makes the 2.0 shocks in all 5 stages. On the sport models, Elka makes only 2.5 stage 5s, which are about $5,000. We have 5 stages, 5 levels of tunability, 5 prices, as well as Elka's 2.5s. And there's, we've had those out for a while. The videos by customers and everything out there, you can check out on our page too. I have linked, the YouTube videos on our channel as well. It's just a absolutely staggering upgrade. So, a lot of people, man, why the prices on these CF-Motos are so good. Why are they so good? Because they come with absolutely horrendous, garbage, cheapest, bottom of the barrel design quality shocks in the market. So it's adequate, it rides okay. People that have a 950 might argue with me and just say, well, mine rides pretty good. Trust me, you haven't felt what good is. You felt what okay feels like. So the stock suspension's like a Kia. This is a Ferrari. There's a huge difference in suspension quality and performance. Not just, yeah, they're plusher, they're more compliant, but they handle the terrain far greater. They maintain your tire contact with the terrain far greater, so steering input is much more precise. None of that, you're going over jittery bumps and the machine just feels like it's skating on ice. That's because your tires are losing contact with the ground because the suspension valving is wrong. You could do all you want. You can band-aid everything you want by changing the tender springs and changing the springs or whatever on the stock shocks, but essentially all you're doing is you're putting lipstick on a piece of shit. It's absolute garbage on the stock shocks. You want to have some really good shocks. Our stage 1s, which is just, basic, what we call a set it and forget it. It just has preload, but you get all the beautiful valving, the high quality, the race quality of the Elka productions, and all of our valving, our 2-stage valving, high speed, low speed valving in all 5 stages. So it rides super plush at low speeds, but the faster you drive, the bigger the gap is over stock. Literally, it's just incredible. Like this H.O EX, I would put the ride quality, the plushness, it's how it handles at slow speeds on par with a KRX. The faster it goes, this is going to be higher than the KRX. The performance is quite a bit higher. The KRX is a good trail suspension. It's very plush, but you really start to push it. Anybody that has like a KRX that's going to be any type of racing, they're going to dump $5 to $10,000 into those shocks to get them where they need to be. And I build I build stage 5s for the KRX as well. But anyways, this particular one here, we have the stage 4s, so that way I can fine tune the low speeds valving stack, 'cause that's my most important thing that I'm going for. We hit, you know, we usually hit the high speeds dead on, but the low speed, because I'm building it for the masses, I'm going to be doing a vast amount of you know, plushness and trail riding type setups. So that's the masses that's going to buy these machines. You want to race, go with 4s or 5s, and you access both both stages in the valve of the valving in stage 5s, and then you can really tune it into absolute God mode for any type of terrain, any type of driving condition, and any type of driver. So it's a pretty huge setup on there. But so right now, this particular machine, we have 15-inch wheels with 31-inch carnivores. We're sitting at 15.5 inches of ground clearance. So that's definitely an upscale over stock. Yes, our shocks, we max the potential. We max the potential. We use every millimeter that is on the table with the suspension, but keeping everything within the tolerance levels of your steering and your tie rods. That's why you can never run a lift kit with our shocks, because if you do that, you push beyond those limits, you're going to break an axle. If your axle breaks, the next thing in line is your steering rack. Your steering rack up here, it's going to bottom out, and sooner or later you're just going to snap your steering rack and stuff. So don't do it. You could adjust the preload down, raise your ride height up. You know, you could find that happy medium spot, but we always set up suspension for performance first. You know, think trophy truck first, monster truck last. You know, that's my biggest thing, is always think trophy truck, not monster truck. Adding a little bit of ground clearance is good, but whenever you start jacking that thing up, the more you jack it up, the more down travel you lose in your suspension system, and therefore your performance. So it's like this: the higher your lift goes, the lower your performance goes. You want to find that happy medium spot that you're happy with. Everybody's preference is a little different. Now, I give you an absolutely whole other world of performance and ride quality with our Hester Edition Elkas. And of course, the Hester Edition Elkas are exclusive from us, designed by me. I partnered with Elka years ago on a lot of different machines, and you could only get them from us. And we sell our shocks for the same price or less than Elka sells just regular OEM replacement shocks. So we do very well on the budget friendliness. Our stage 1s, heck, our stage 4s that are on this are probably about what the stock OEM shocks. If you were to blow out your shocks, which is inevitable, you can replace them with our Elkas for about the same price on stage 4. Stage 1s, far cheaper. You couldn't buy, you can buy the entire set of 4 of our stage 1s for less than just the 2 rears from CF-Moto, and of course you're still getting the same garbage shock. So keep that in mind. So suspension is the biggest upgrade that you could ever do. The ride quality, the handling, the performance, the drivability, flexibility, everything is just completely changed. So this particular machine, we test with a lot of different setups. Pretty much on all of our shocks, especially on the Z950s, and you know, pretty much all the CF-Motos, we tell you to take the front sway bar and throw that thing in the garbage. You do not need the front sway bar one bit. Mainly because, well, I mean, it really hurts you, but 2 sway bars on this small and light of a chassis is some lawyer made that decision, not an engineer. I can tell you that, because it's no bueno on this type of a chassis, mainly because the design and the main use that these machines are designed for. The sway bars, or the correct technical term is anti-sway bars, is to produce sway, is when you go into a corner, the suspension starts to compress on one side, the sway bar locks the chassis, and it keeps the chassis more level to prevent some of the swaying back and forth under heavy steering. A vast majority of these machines are on the trail, rock crawling, trail riding, and live their life below 30 miles an hour. In that case, we usually tell everybody, like we did on this, just for showing purposes, we're going to put the sway bar back on, but we just temporarily disconnected the sway bar just for flexing to show you the articulation of this thing. So rock crawling, trail riding, drop the sway bars front and rear on this thing, and it just flexes like amazing. The difference in valving under handling is far greater. Now this machine here, being that it's an EX, it comes out of the factory at 64 inches. We have 1-inch adapters because we're running a 4x156 lug wheel, so we have to have an adapter, and then of course the wheel is bigger and everything. So this is sitting at 66 inches wide. That extra stance that we have plays a big factor in how the machine handles laterally turns and ruts and stuff like that. So makes a big difference on doing things like that. I would far rather increase the width of a machine than put sway bars back on, but that's just me. I look at the maximum performance. Now if you're going to take this and race it in the desert, I'd probably leave the rear sway bar on, drop the front sway bar. But I always tell our customers, try it both ways, try it every way, try them with the sway bars, try them without the sway bars. Vast majority, north of 90%, are going to drop sway bars, honestly, or at least the front. A very, very high percentage dropping the front sway bars. But by doing so what the anti-sway bar does is, as the suspension starts to compress, it locks up the suspension and it transfers all that shock into the chassis. Then the chassis will start to tilt. So if I had the sway bars on this, which we did a lot of measurements, you got all this added travel. We're now sitting at close to 16 inches of wheel travel on the EX, way up from the factory number. So you're gaining in wheel travel, you're gaining in everywhere. It's just night and day. Big difference on how the machine drives flat out and handles on a daily basis. You drive for a couple hours, doesn't feel like you went 12 rounds with Jesus or anything. It's just, you don't feel beat to snot because the suspension is just jarring and all that shock translating into the chassis, which is into your spine. It makes a big difference. Big difference. Countless wives have called us and thanked us for selling the shocks to their husbands. They were pissed off for spending the money, but once they got them on, it's like they slap their husband and say, why didn't you do this sooner? Because it is the best money you will ever spend, bar none. For the price of wheels and tires, you could have the shocks. Upgrade your shocks first, wheels and tires later. Come on. That's the smartest thing that you can do. I can guarantee it. But we're going to show you real quick here, a little bit of a flex here. So Chris is we're gonna lift this up here. Actually, if you want me to trade you here, we're gonna bring this up and just kind of show you what a huge difference in articulation this thing is. Okay, so I'm going to watch that wheel right there. Once we leave the ground on that. Okay, we're barely off the ground. Touch, there we go. Let me get down and then blow your mind. Ba-bam! There you go. That's articulation. And as you can tell, all three tires are still touching. And look at the tilt of the chassis. It's barely tilted over. So the stability factor when you have a proper built suspension system, it's so much safer. Going up over these rocks and ruts, the machine doesn't want to feel like it's wanting to tip over. It just flexes like a spider. All 4 tires are just flexing out and everything. I mean, look at the difference. And see, we still got some room left because we're not even bottomed out to the bump stop, because you still have the bump stop and then that much of the bump stop squish. I mean, look at the stroke on these suckers. Huge. Same thing back here. Not even close to the bottoming out. See, that bump stop's not even touching all the way down too. So that's just kind of up there. So you still have about that much of stroke left on this side. Now, of course, under a flex like this, we don't have the weight or the shock, so to speak, shock as in jarring impact, in order to use up all the suspension travel. That's for like jumping and stuff. You take a jump and everything, you can be able to use all of the travel to it. And look at that. Big shock right there, man. Big shocks, big old reservoirs on stage 3s, 4s, and 5s. I have a video, I will have it in the link down below, on the 5-stage breakdown on what it all takes for that. So I mean, everything that you could think of suspension, load carrying capabilities, balance front to rear, the control, keeping the machine level. I mean, how you could hammer whoops, plane over whoops, is just insane compared to stock. So you take the machine to an entirely new level. It's really, really a big difference there. And basically, in order to get our shocks, you just call the store Tuesday through Saturday, 575-445-3558. The girl's inside there. You just tell them what you have, what you want, what stage, and they can get you all set up. So that is it. I will have a full video of this, because this machine, I believe, is going to Illinois. So I will have a full video going over this whole thing. That will be on our YouTube channel. Right now, this is just about the shocks, just showing about the shocks, the setup of the shocks, just how awesome they are. Like I said, you know, these are stage 4s, so the stage 4s have a low speed compression on the top here, big massive reservoir here, and then we got the low rebound at the bottom, so we can speed it up or slow it down, make the low speed valving stack softer or firmer in the valving itself. Yeah, like stage 1s, it's the exact same shock, just less parts to it, less tunability. What we call a set it and forget it. You got your preload on there, bolt them on, go ride and enjoy. If you don't like to play with suspension, don't know how to tune suspension, you can go stage 1s. If you do a lot of fast driving down like a cobblestone road, what we like to say, it's like driving on railroad tracks, mile after mile after mile, and you like driving north of 40 miles an hour, I would recommend a stage 2, because a stage 2 has the rebound. Rebound is so important. The faster you drive, the faster the shock needs to react. So you can speed the shock up to keep up with your ground speed. So if you're just hammering through that stutter bumps that, you know, you can't drive that fast with the stock shocks, because it feels like you're just skating on ice, because the tires are bouncing off the ground every single hit. You have to pull throttle, you have to slow down to regain control. These, they just laugh and keep on going. Put the pedal to the floor and just keep on going. Big whoops, stuff like that, you got lots of travel, jumps, racing it, all that stuff. The difference in handling, sway, control, everything is just on a whole other level. You want to race, you want our shocks, no question about it. They are the biggest game changer you'll ever do. I will spend $20,000 in suspension before I get 1 horsepower more out of the engine. I will dump a lot of money in suspension because, I mean, when I used to race pro motocross, I mean, 10 grand in suspension work, forks and shock was pretty common. I mean, you look at, if you race motocross or anything, just look up what well, Pro Circuit now sells an A kit, but you used to have to send everything in and you had to pay everything, and it was through the nose. I mean, you'd spend, you know, 4 or 5 grand on your forks and then send in your shock and have everything built, all these billet pieces, custom pieces made for your suspension, links, everything like that, just to get your ratios the way you wanted it, the way the bike handled the way you wanted. Yeah, you'd spend a tremendous amount of money before you even put anything on an engine. Power is nothing without control. You could have 1,000,000 horsepower, but if you can't put it to the ground, what's the point? You know, if you got to drive 30 miles an hour through whoops and somebody with half your horsepower passes you in the whoops, what good's all that horsepower? What's the point of putting a turbo if your suspension can't handle it? You know, put the money where it belongs and be blown away by how you can drive the machine. Really impressive. So I want to thank you guys, really appreciate it. So let's get going. Let's go out there. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell, you know, smash that like button, smash that notification bell like you're smashing a bug on a wall. Come on, let's get going. We need some more subscribers to this channel. Got a lot of plans going, a lot of plans to do. Hope to drag you all with us and show you a good time. I mean, it's dirty right now because it's been in the shop. We're still putting everything together, so don't mind the dust. When I have this video ready for the vehicle, it'll be nice and clean and detailed, ready to go. So I want to thank you all for watching. God bless, and make sure you get yourself some Hester Edition Elkas. Anything else we could help you out with, you just ask and let us know. Super ATV, whatever, we can get you hooked up. Great deals. Just give the store a call, 575-445-3558. They'll get you rolling. Thank you. God bless. Have a great day.